So we had a few notes from the world of the Vancouver Canucks today, and honestly, I feel kind of weird making this video. Mostly because I feel for a lot of these conversation topics, I'm not really personally excited to talk about them, and I really put a lot of emphasis on my own emotions as to how I respond to topics, because I do think that it is in some way representative of how fans in general, not just me, feel. When I make a video about Ivan Demidov, I'm excited. And the Montreal Canadiens fans who watch those videos are also excited. This is a hot topic. It's crazy. It's euphoric. It's exciting. And I feel like overdoing this YouTube thing full-time for 5 years now, it's been my full-time source of income since the pandemic pretty much, I kind of started to listen to my gut more on these things, like, hey, that topic is exciting, so make a video about it, and if it's exciting, people are also going to be excited about it, and it'll ultimately be worth making a video about. But for this stuff, I don't know, it's hard to get excited about anything Vancouver Canucks related nowadays, and that's reflected in the YouTube views. Say what you want, again, about the quality of these commentaries, whether or not you think I'm as good of a video maker compared to some other people. Of course, my format is a little bit different, using strictly NHL B-roll versus NHL clips and copyrighted footage, but the fact that I know this formula works, and it has worked in the past, just confirms my own feelings as to how the Vancouver Canucks are as a team, and my entire process of making videos about them. For the first time in ages, I'm starting to skip post-game shows and morning episodes of Halford and Bruff. All year, I was tuned in like a hawk to all of this stuff, but for the past few weeks, it's been starting to wane, where I'm like, oh, I kind of want to listen to something else. I don't really want to listen to Canucks talk right now. And even here on the YouTube videos, you're starting to see lower and lower views on Canucks videos, especially when you compare it to some of the Montreal and Detroit stuff that are being uploaded around it. Again, say what you want about whether or not you think the quality of these videos is actually worth watching, but Canucks fans and Canucks fan sentiment, it's not there right now. So it's kind of difficult to make videos enthusiastically about some of the stuff that's happening in Canuck Nation just because of the disappointment. With that in mind, though, sorry for the long intro, I just wanted to give y'all some perspective as to what I'm thinking as a content creator making videos about the Vancouver Canucks in this market, because we did have some Canucks news, pretty positive news I would say, and it all comes to us in the form of Canucks practice, because the Canucks posted this earlier this afternoon, spotted at practice, it's Filip Chytil. Phil practiced with the squad in a non-contact jersey today. And this, of course, is a very surprising development. We've already heard that Filip Chytil is going to be shut down for the year, pretty much, and the fact that he is even able to suit up and skate around is a good sign. Now, what does this say to me? Does it mean that I think, oh, we're going to get Filip Chytil back next season, and he's going to be an 82-game guy, and he's going to get 40 points, and he's going to bring his speed and dynamism down the middle? Ideally, that's what you would like to hear. That's what you would want in a perfect world with no problems, but I don't know, man. It's hard to really predict anything for Filip Chytil at this point. The amount of concussions he had had and the concussion protocol, he's always going in, he's always getting that treatment. This is always an issue for him, it seems, that even back when he was a New York Ranger, there were already a lot of Rangers fans saying, hey, like, this guy could be 1 or 2 hits away from his hockey playing career being over. And at some point you have to really start considering, like, okay, is it important for him to still be able to play, or at what point does he cross that threshold where it's like, hey, you playing is more dangerous than it is beneficial? Of course, this is a very grim way to talk about it, but Filip Chytil has gotten into that Michael Furland-esque territory, I feel, just in the way that fans are viewing his situation and his deployment with the team. Skilled guy, speedy guy, but who had maybe 1 too many concussions and was forced to call it quits. Now, Filip Chytil hasn't done that. He's playing, or he's practicing in a non-contact jersey, but we already know he's not going to play for the rest of the season, essentially. The question really is, though, if he is on this path of recovery where, exceeding all the expectations, he is able to start practicing and start skating with the team before the end of the regular season, Does that open the door for Filip Chytil to potentially be an option for the Canucks in 2025-2026? Is that realistic to even ponder? Is it an option here? I honestly would lean more on the side of caution and say probably not, but at the same time, this is a guy who has been motivated to play, and he's got the contract. He's going to be a Vancouver Canuck by commitment over the next little while here, so if there is an opportunity for him to play and to show off some value at the NHL level, then okay, that is awesome. Unexpected, but awesome. It's why Vancouver fans have now started to really attack the idea of Vancouver getting themselves a second-line center to be behind Elias Pettersson, because if you assume Chytil isn't really all too accessible for next season, you kind of need to get somebody else down the middle. You can't just rely on Pius Suter, and the fact is, we don't even know if Pius Suter is going to come back to the Canucks next season, so that's an entire other conversation. But if you wanted to talk about guys that could be a Filip Chytil replacement, thus demoting Chytil to a third line if he's able to come back, or replacing his spot entirely if he doesn't come back, that really gets the ball rolling as to where the Canucks need to put their focus on in this offseason. And that was talked about as well by Patrick Allvin, the comments about trying to improve down the middle, etc., etc. It's all something we've talked about before. But with that in mind, the Pius Suter conversation, I also wanted to turn your attention to a comment thread on the R Canucks subreddit. Now, I wanted to talk about this just because it poses some varying viewpoints that I thought would be just a good exercise to talk about. There was a meme posted on the R Canucks sub earlier today. The Canucks management when it comes to letting players walk instead of trading for assets, and it's the SpongeBob meme of SpongeBob dunking the basketball. It's the LeBron James and Dwayne Wade picture from the Miami Heat. And one of the comments goes out there and says, when a team is as close to a wildcard spot as the Canucks were, not trading Boeser was the correct choice. They did offer 5 years and $8 million a year, which he turned down. As management said, teams weren't offering a lot for Boeser at the deadline. Having the available cap space that would have been eaten up is also an asset. It all depends on how you look at it. So, Chaz is saying essentially that it was okay for the Canucks not to trade Boeser. They were close to a wild card. They did offer him money, but ultimately being able to use him on your team in the now and free up the money that he would be freeing up by leaving in the offseason is an asset. It's the old, the Vancouver Canucks don't value Boeser as highly as Boeser and his agent value Boeser, which results in some conflict over how much he should really get. A reply says, oh, you said when a team is as close to a wildcard spot as the Canucks were, not trading Boeser was the correct choice? No, it wasn't. This team had like a 35% chance of making the wildcard at the deadline and a 0% chance of doing anything meaningful in the playoffs, and seemingly no interest in re-signing Brock. Like always, the Vancouver Canucks refuse to lean into a lost year and competently manage their assets. Another reply says, tell that to Quinn when you're trying to re-sign him. Yeah, I know we were 3 points outside of the playoffs with a game in hand, but we couldn't get a first for Brock, but we traded him for a late second because we definitely foresaw both Chytil and Petey getting hurt. We definitely foresaw the Blues going on a 12-game winning streak, so we traded our best winger for less than we wanted, eroding our future leverage as well. Yeah, I'm sure Quinn will feel great in July after he didn't get to play in the playoffs and Boeser leaves anyway, and now their moves in the offseason will be less impactful because they'd have less assets to trade. He probably would have been happier with a competent plan to be competitive going forward. And so, it all depends on how you look at it, right? This is the great thing about sports and analyzing sports. It's that you can have a very different opinion than the guy down the street. And ultimately, it stems back up to the Brock Boeser conversation as to whether or not the Canucks made the right move by holding on to him. Whether or not Patrick Allvin made the right comments by pretty much demeaning Boeser's value in public. Whether or not all of this was right or wrong or whatever, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think the Canucks should have done? Should they have traded Brock Boeser even if it was for nothing, considering the unlikely scenario that he does re-sign at this point? Or was it really meant to be in this way? Also, what are your thoughts on Filip Chytil? He was practicing today. Good sign, but not something that I think we could fully hang our hats on just yet. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And Bye.